Hello everyone and welcome to today's session on utilising custom fields within the Sage 50 Accounts software. So we're going to look specifically more at the customer record and the invoice record. As you go on, the steps kind of tend to apply to the other areas of the software as well. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for this afternoon. So it is just me today, so I'll be on questions as well as hosting. So please do bear with me on the question front. I will try my best to answer them live on the session if your questions do come through. If I don't get a chance to answer them, what I'll do is I will reach out to you via email after the session has ended. Now this session is booked out for about 45 minutes. We're probably not going to need all of that time. So depending obviously on how many questions we get at the end, if there's not many questions outstanding, then what we'll do is we'll look to end the session earlier and you will get some time back this afternoon. Just before we start the session, just want to cover some housekeeping. So what you will see is when you join, you will be placed on mute. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. This is then going to open up the panel where you can send your questions across to me and I will try and my best to pick these up. We do also have a handout for today. You can download this by clicking on the button that looks like a little document with a folded corner. We would recommend downloading this as it will have some helpful links to our help centre. Just a reminder, like every session, it is recorded and it will be sent to you via email around an hour after the session has ended. And this is also going to include links to the webinar, other webinar recordings, but also as well links to register for future webinars as well. So keep an eye out for that in your mailbox as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering in today's webinar. So we're going to introduce custom fields if it's not something that you're familiar with. We're going to talk about how to set it up, where it's available in the software. And then also we'll go into some live demonstration in the software as well. Then towards the end of the session, I'll summarize, but I'll also provide further support as well. Okay, so custom fields can be used to add extra levels of analysis and customization to your software. Field labels can be configured, making them more relevant to the needs of your business. Filter and search through your data to find information much quicker. Now, I'm not going to be covering filters and quick search on today's session, as we do have a dedicated session next week all about how you can use filters and the quick search when using custom fields for your records. I will show you towards the end of the session how to get registered for that session. So where are custom fields available? So the availability is in with your customers and supplier records, in your product and service records, invoices, quotations and orders, and also projects. But as I mentioned before, we are going to focus more on the customers and your invoices, because again, once you've got the hang of that, it kind of applies to other areas as well. So the rest, like suppliers, products, quotations, orders, and projects. Sorry. Now, to configure these custom fields, it's simple as going into settings, configuration, and then as you can see per the screenshot, which I'm going to show you in the demonstration in a moment, you can see you've got your customer record, your supplier record, departments, quotations, sales orders, and invoice. Now, products does show in a different tab, but again, I'm just going to briefly show you that when we go into the demonstration. So within the customer and supplier records, you will find these custom fields. Once you've configured them in here, when you go to the customer and supplier record, it will be in the default tab down the left-hand side. In product records, you will find the custom fields in web, and that's in the web tab down the left-hand side. In invoices, quotations, and orders, you will find it in the order tab. And then within projects, you'll find it in the project and analysis tab in the project record. Now I have included some links along the top there, and it's just to kind of aid you in what we're going to be showing you today. So the first button, the guide, if you've got the handout downloaded, you can click on that. If you click on that article, it's just going to show you how to configure and change the names of your custom fields. And then also as well, the step-by-step guide on adding custom fields to records as well. So it's just a bit more in depth of what we're going to be covering today if you need to refer to that step-by-step guide. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop over to my software and we'll get straight stuck in with the demonstration. So I'm going to pop over to my Sage 50 accounts. I'm just going to show you again where we're talking about in terms of how to configure these settings. So you go to settings along the top. Configuration is the first option. And you're going to be brought up with this configuration editor window here. First tab we've got here is custom fields. So as you can see, it looks exactly like the screenshot you've seen on your handout. So if you're on an older version, so before version 29, you will only see 3 analysis fields. So in the version 29 update, it was increased to 6 analysis fields for your customers and your supplier records, as this was a request to have more availability. And as I've mentioned at the start of the session, the reason you would use these is to give a bit more customization within your records. So it might be that you need to record something, or it might be on reporting purpose as to why you might want to add some analysis fields in here. Now, it doesn't have to be the ones that we've got populated here, customer type, representative, things like that. It's entirely up to you what you pop in these boxes. These are just some examples that you might want to pop in here. So, for example, we've already got customer type and rep in there. I'm going to change analysis 3 to region. Again, if you're on version 29 or above, you have got up to 6 on there, and that will show in the record for your customers and suppliers. For my invoices, because that's what we're going to focus around today, we're going to change analysis 1 to sales rep. Again, the steps to set this up for the other records, so your suppliers and your purchase orders and your department, is exactly the same. You just pop the details in here. It's just where you find it might be slightly different. Again, I did mention as well, products is on a different tab. So you pop into the products tab and you've got your product custom fields in this area here. Because I've popped those into I've popped in analysis 3 there for region, and I've got sales wrap in there for my invoices. So to save this, I simply just click OK. Now, you cannot select which records that applies to. It will apply to all, but that doesn't mean you have to enter information into that box because it's not a mandatory field. So if we pop into customers, and I just click on a record, so we'll click on A1 Design Services. And we pop into the defaults tab down the left-hand side. You can see at the moment we've got customer type, the rep, and then you can see there it's now changed that to region from analysis 3. So all you would do is, because I'm going to use this as a region, let's just say this is going to be Northeast. You save that record. And then that can be, it depends on, you want to filter, if you might want to apply a filter for your customers who are based in the Northeast, your customers who may be might be global, different countries. That's a way that you could apply that. Now, pop back into that record. We'll pop back into that defaults tab. Now, these are free type boxes, so you can pop numbers and letters in here, but you cannot restrict what is typed into this box as it is a free type box. So you do want to make sure that everyone's being careful in terms of if, there might, a spelling mistake or a typo. Just be mindful of that. It is a free type box. So if I was to put a D at the end of that and click save, it would save that. Now, a really useful way to use this as well, or change what you might need to change for multiple records, is it might be something you've not heard of before, but something called batch changes, and it's this option along the top. So it might be that you start using custom fields and you want to change multiple records in one go. Now, this is not available in the Essentials variant. So if you're on Standard or Professional, you will have access to this option along the top. If you don't see it along the top, it might be that it might be your level of access, or maybe it could be hidden from this menu here. You can simply right click and then choose batch changes. Make sure it's got a tick next to it if you don't see it. But that's going to be really useful if I want to change multiple records to have the same region or the same custom field. So let's just say I'm going to pick just a couple of records here. We'll untick that because I've already got that one on, but let's just say the ones I've highlighted, I know that those customers are also based in the Northeast. So I'm going to pop in Northeast again. So as you can see, options that you have typed in before, it will bring this up as an option. So I can just select that from that list. So there isn't a default drop down, but if you've typed it in before and saved it, it will show as a preset that you can select from as well. So if I click save on that, that's just letting me know that I'm going to make changes to multiple records, and I'm going to click yes. So what I can do next is along the top, you've got these column headers. We talk about this in some of our sessions on how you can configure these as well. If you right click on these column headers, you get a long list of what you can actually add in within your view. So if I scroll down, I can actually add in my custom fields. So you can see I've got customer type, so I can add that in. I can add in my region. So I can actually see those within that region, and maybe if you've got different types, you might have trade, cash, you can see one I've got there, public as well. And that's where next week's session is going to come in really handy, because we're going to talk all about how you can filter through these records using your custom fields. So for example, we've got Northeast, so then I might want to select another couple, do a batch change, and change that maybe to West Midlands. Put a couple of them in there as well. And then we're going to click save. And that's going to then change throughout my customer records. And again, you can do this to your supplier records as well, and products and so on and so forth. You can also sort by ascending and descending just by clicking on this column. So then it'll put the in alphabetical order if you've got different ones. You can also filter that way as well. I will quickly just show you the filter for example, if you're going to do region, since we'll have a little bit of spare time. So for example, if I go into filter, choose where, I find the region custom field, condition, pop this to equal to, and then we'll just put northeast. So then, if you want to run a report on just these customers based in the northeast, then you can filter and then run a report based on the filter that you have applied. That's how easy it is to add your custom fields in, so that your labels of what you want them to actually say, what sort of information you're going to add in. Then it's as simple as popping into the record and popping that information into the box. Then if you wish to see it on your main customer screen, you can then, using these column headers, you can pop them in here as well. If you wanted to hide them, simply right click and then find it in the list and just untick it and it will disappear. Now, if we were to use this within invoices, so we'll pop into invoices and credits. We'll just use the one that we've already got. So we'll open up an invoice. We'll pop into the order tab down the left-hand side. And you can see we've got sales rep in here. So for example, let's just do a new invoice. It's going to pick a customer. We'll pick a product. And then, for example, we pop into here, we'll go, okay, well, Joe Blogs did this sale, and click save. And if we close that down, we've got that invoice at the bottom. And then again, exactly the same as what we were doing in customer records before. You also have the options to add in here the different column headers. So you can see towards the end, we've got the custom fields. So we'll tick the sales rep field, and then we can see who has done what invoices, who was the sales rep and responsible for that invoice. And then again, what you would do is you could potentially apply a filter to see, if you want to look at certain sales reps, what invoices they've been doing, or who's posted what, or who's been, generating those invoices. This doesn't necessarily mean that they've created this invoice. This just means that they are the sales rep for that. Now we do have something called the agent's commission report. So if we pop into reports, try to remember where it is, bear with me a brief second. Can't remember off the top of my head. There's an agent's commissions report. And I can't remember where it is off the top of my head, bear with me. What I'll do is there it is. So it's sales by analysis code. And what you can do is you can do net sales by analysis 1 with an invoice summary grouped by customers. This is another report that you can use. Just can't remember where the agent's commissions report is, but that is based off analysis 1, and you can run a report off that one. And what you can do as well is, if you don't necessarily you might not have your sales rep set as analysis 1, you can also edit the custom field, but again, we're not going to cover that in today's session, because we do have specific sessions on amending documents. So a question exactly what I've just talked about there coming from Paul. So if our invoice already contains data from a custom field using a statement including this info, custom field 1, and we change the name of the custom field, will the invoice still continue to work properly? So yes, it'll still gonna, no matter what it's called, you can change the name of it, that's absolutely fine. It's actually the report in the background, or the invoice in the background. It knows that that is custom analysis field 1, so it will still use it even if you change the name within the configuration editor as well. Okay, so that is how you can add in your custom fields to your customer records and your invoices as well. But again, the same applies for sales orders. So if you would pop into sales order, create a new sales order, pop into the order tab, you can see there, custom fields, you've got your sales rep in there as well. Again, because of the way the configuration editor works, it will be the same custom fields for your invoices, your sales orders, and your credits. And you can't choose what it applies to. It will apply to all of those as well. But again, you don't necessarily have to pop something in that box because it isn't a mandatory field. Okay, so what we'll do now is I am just going to pop back to my slides. Now, I'll just give you a little bit more information, kind of off the back of Paul's question there about configuring custom fields and things like that. So you can add custom fields to a document. So it can be a report. It can also be an invoice as well. If you're comfortable editing your layouts, your documents, then we do have a step-by-step guide. I have provided it on there. It's as simple as adding a text box for the column header, add a data field where you can see we've got options within that example there, add a field to pick up the information from that particular custom field. But more complex designs can be achieved by grouping, but we have done series of webinars on adding a group to a report. Now, like I say, we do already have webinar recordings on reports. What I'll do is I'll quickly show you that now. Again, custom fields to your documents, we do have a step-by-step guide if you prefer to follow something like that as well. But what I'll do is I'll quickly just show you the webinar recordings. So if we pop to the homepage of the Help Centre, we pop into webinars. We view previous recordings. And then if we scroll down, we have a whole section on reporting. It's quite far down. There we go. So we've got report design webinar series here. And then as you can see, we've got adding logo, email addresses, details, festive messaging. So we've got loads of different ways that you can also add that information in and follow these guides as well. Okay, so like I say, this session was going to be a lot shorter than the other sessions that we usually do. So what we'll do is we'll just summarise. If you do have any questions, do pop them across. It's been very quiet on the question front today. But what we've discussed today is custom fields are a great feature to add an extra level to your reporting capabilities. Custom fields can be renamed within settings and configuration. There are standard reports available which use the custom fields automatically. Custom fields can be easily added to reports to help analyze your data more effectively. More advanced report amendments can be made to group items by a custom field as well. If you do want any extra support from our report design service, whether that just be meaning general support, or we do offer bespoke report design service as well. If you do want more information on that, I have provided a link in the top right hand corner if you wish to find out more. I have also provided just the generic Help Centre link as well, because we do have plenty of resources on our Help Centre all around this topic as well. We have just had a question coming there from Kirsten there. Can you import into custom fields? So I just want to clarify, is this meaning when you use the import template? If so, if you let me know, pop in the chat if that's what you're referring to, and I'll be able to answer that more clearly. Just while I wait for that to come through, I am going to just find this agent's sales by agent report. I just need to have a quick look. So just bear with me a brief moment. If you do have any questions, do pop them across for me, and I'll pick them up in just a moment. Okay, so Kirsten has gone back with that. So what I'll do, Kirsten, is I will reach out to you after the webinar has ended. I will need to have a look just at the import template to see if that is something that is in there. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I may have time after I've just had a quick look into this for you. Bear with me a brief moment. Okay, so I've managed to get the agent commission report. So if you have I'll quickly show you. I'll pop to my software. So if you're on the later versions of the Sage software, we do have something called the report finder. So it's within your software. Pop into reports anywhere in your software. You've got the report finder. So you can just type agent, sales by agent, or agent commission. I'll do a search, and it brings me up the agent commission report. So then if you've got information in your invoices, it will then run a agent's commission report based on what name is in that sales rep custom field 1 as well. Okay, so just another question came in from Kirsten as well about importing. So let's have a quick look at that as well. So we'll go to the import templates. And we'll have a look at the customer record template. So I'll just bring this up. Let's have a quick look. Because this is, let's have a look. Okay, yes, so you can. So you can see we've got analysis 4, 5, and 6. So if you have essentials and if you don't have access to the batch changes option, you can use the import templates, because you can see we've got the analysis fields in there as well. So yes, to answer that question, you can use the import to import customer fields into your records. Okay, so put back to the slides. Questions is coming there from Margaret. Is a report finder on all versions or just the most recent version? So I believe it came into version 30.1, which is where you will have access to that report finder. Alternatively, if you're not on the latest version, the there is a report finder on our help centre that will also support you with finding where those reports are. Okay, so just while we wait for any further questions to come through, just want to mention that we do have a management reports badge coming up in April. So we've done badging of events quite a few times now, and they always prove very popular. So this is a big one. We are doing management reports. So if you want to get registered for these, they are available on our help centre. I'll show you where to find those. So again, back to the help centre, where we click on webinars again. And then if we scroll down, you can see we've got the sessions. So we've got nominal records, working with chart of accounts, the trial balance, profit and loss and balance sheet, running management reports for previous or future financial year, reconciling your aged debtors and creditors, the business dashboard, and we do a quiz as always. So usually you have to attend, so there we can see you have to attend at least 5 of the 6 topics plus a quiz session for you to be able to earn your digital badge. If you want to get registered for any other webinars, we've got plenty coming up still in March. So we've got some credit control. Again, we are doing the streamlining your data with filters and quick search. We're doing 2 sessions on that one as well if you want to attend that session. So we've got quite a lot coming up. If you want to get registered for those sessions, as I've mentioned before, the link is going to be included in your follow-up email as well if you wish to get registered for those sessions. Last thing I want to mention before we wrap up the session is all about growing your knowledge. So you can find out more about our one-to-one bespoke training options. So you can now get one-to-one training on 50 Accounts software. So we offer various training bundles for the likes of stock control, CIS, banking, debtors and creditors. And also as well, if you're on Essentials or Standard, you're looking to upgrade your license to a professional license, you want to see what you get access to on the professional variant, then we can also demonstrate that for you as well. If you want a personalised quote, you can contact our team on the email address available on the handout. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. Please feel free to stay around for the next minute or so if you have another question to ask or you're waiting for an answer. If you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let me know any feedback regarding today's session, what you liked, what you think we could have done better. We always do like to read those comments. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put myself on a brief mute just while I pick up the remainder of the questions. Okay, so the last question, just from Lynn there, roughly how much are the one-to-one training sessions per hour? So unfortunately, I don't have that information, but what I do recommend is just popping an email across to the email on your handout, and they will be able to provide you all of that information. Okay, so that's all the questions that have came through and I've answered. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this session up. I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. And just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks and the management reports badge. So don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.